G'day, Nathan here from SEQH, and joining me today in our special Wonderful Women in Logistics segment, we have the wonderful Astrid.
Hello everyone.
So I'm excited about a few of the questions we have today for Astrid, and let's kick off with the first one, which is, how did you arrive in the logistics industry, specifically international logistics?
Yeah, through my husband, business partner actually, Andre.
Yes.
You know him.
Yes.
We met in high school a long time ago, and very early on in his career, he started working for Restraint.
Yes.
And Restraint is the global leader when it comes to safe cargo securing solutions.
Definitely.
So he worked for Restraint for 3 years. Then Restraint sent us to America. Andre took part in the team to build up an American organization for Restraint.
And that was the first time in the States as well, wasn't it?
That was, yeah. I was actually a flight attendant at the time, so I did travel back and forth to America quite often, but to really live in America, that was the first time for us. So we moved to Chicago, built up a sales organization for Restraint over there, or actually Andre did. But because I was a flight attendant, I had a lot of time off in between, so America's a big country. We would often go on long road trips far away, and if I had the time, I would just join him on those road trips and visit customers with him and help with demos, etc. like that. Trade shows, I was always the helping hand at trade shows, so I kind of slowly became involved. At least I knew what he was doing. And then after about 8 years, Restraint asked us to start up, or basically do it all over again in China.
Wow.
Start Restraint China, massive export out of China. They all needed help to properly secure their products. So we went to Shanghai, close to Shanghai, to build a sales organization. And that's when I joined Restraint as well. More in a marketing position, global marketing for their websites, etc.
But that's like, 8-9 years of you being a sideline advocate.
Yes.
Going on, doing the trade shows and joining Andre as well. Wow, that's a huge support network for. Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. It allowed me to see a lot of America as well when we were living there. Because initially he was involved with just the Midwest.
Right.
But that was from Chicago all the way down to New Orleans. So there was
huge.
I mean, it was easy for a 12-hour drive to visit his first customer, and then he would plan lots of business meetings or meetings with potential customers around it. So here we would go, driving state through state, and I loved it. It was really, really good fun. And the trade shows too. I remember the first trade show we did in Chicago, which is one of the international packaging meetings, and it's just massive. I mean, here we do trade shows and you get 10,000 visitors, and people think that's a lot. In America, you would have 100,000 visitors a day, and you were just literally penning down all the leads continuously.
Wow.
I brought the coffee for people to, would you like, that's the Dutch way, I suppose. The trade show, you have coffee for people. Nobody had time for that. No, it was just, no, here are contact details, please contact me. And so no, it was fun.
Hustle.
It was, it was a lot of fun. China was very different, of course. Not speaking the language.
Yes.
But as I said, I joined the company, but then just the marketing part of it, speaking with all the sales reps of Restraint all over the world to find out the trigger points or the pain points for customers and how we could help them. So that gave me good some background information, I suppose, and made me learn a lot about the products. And then 3 years after that, we moved to Malaysia and do it all over again for Southeast Asia.
Wow, third time.
Third time, yes. And then the opportunity presented itself to become Restraint's partner here in Australia, exclusive partner. And Andre was originally born here, so he had an Australian citizenship. It has always been a lifelong dream to open up our own business.
Come here.
Come here. So we jumped on that, and 3 months later we were here and had our own business. And
wow.
Still going strong.
Fourth time.
Fourth
setup.
Fourth setup. Luckily he has all the experience in building all the companies like from the ground up, and I can just help out.
But I think it's amazing that you haven't started in Australia with your first business as just, this is the first time, this is the product, and this is what you got to learn and whatnot. You've actually got those years built up prior, in addition with your husband too, where you had your professional career, but you guys treated that as a partnership. You went on your road trips together. You were contacting customers as well.
True.
So
Yeah.
heavily a part of it leading up to owning the business.
To this here now in Australia. So and
wow.
Very happy we did, and that we had the opportunity, of course, and Ford setup, but final setup as well.
Yes.
Not going anywhere after living here.
Yeah. Well, with all those contacts around all those continents, it might be hard to pinpoint, but who would be some of the pivotal mentors that have helped you in your pathway in transport and logistics?
Well, Andre for sure.
Yeah,
ongoing. You know, he's always still my go-to source for information and help and support. But many of the other people at Coordstrap as well. When we did live in all these countries, we always had visitors from the CEO down to reps from other countries, general managers. We were a very close-knit community at Coordstrap.
Yes.
So people would never stay in hotels. They would just always stay at our house for a week or you know, just how long they were visiting for. And that was marketing people, sales people, as I said, the directors as well. Yeah. So I just learned so much from all these people.
From everyone. From
everyone, basically. Yes. And still do. You know, if something here comes up, a specific application for the railroad, for example. We have some specialists in the States that I know personally, and I'll get back in touch with them. They work together with the railroads in America, and so it's kind of an ongoing thing, but it's mainly all the Coordstrap people. The key mentors. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So what are 3 fresh things that you've learned or achieved in your time in Australia that you didn't expect to learn or achieve?
Right.
You obviously come here, you have your own, naturally, consciously and subconsciously, you have expectations.
Yeah.
So what are the things that surprised you that you've overcome or achieved?
What we're very happy about was that was only our 3rd year here. We actually got an award for most innovative solutions for sea transport. Okay. So that was really cool and unexpected. I guess what we sort of did expect, or at least hope for, was to build a really solid customer base of loyal customers. Yeah. And to become the go-to company or expert basically for complex cargo securing issues.
Yes.
If people need a compliant solution or are dealing with complex cargoes, to be known as that's really the guys that you need to talk to. They can help you. And not just from an engineering standpoint of view, but then also be able to provide the materials to do that.
Yes.
So and the training as well. So basically to offer the whole package to a company, and then with ongoing support, and to be known for that company in that short amount of time frame that we've been here. That's something that we're definitely very proud of and happy
That's very special. It's only 5 years, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
3 years in, get a special recognised award, and then have that reputation. It's like 5 years.
Yes, and also in those 5 years, changing the mindset of people, because when we arrived in Australia,
it's all chains.
It was all chains, just you know. And you know, and change is always difficult, especially if you've been doing something for 20 years.
Yes.
So first to kind of make that shift for people like, wow, how can this really be as strong as a chain? That was difficult. That was the first battle, I suppose. Yeah. And now that you are known for that, but then further expanding on that you are the go-to experts for problems or complex cargoes or compliance solutions. Yep. That's just really, really cool. What I didn't expect, to be honest, and absolutely love, is the LinkedIn community.
Yeah, right.
And I had never really done much with LinkedIn, even though I was doing marketing for Coordstrap and became I always, and many people, I think, also at Coordstrap had the idea that, no one in our industry is on LinkedIn. Yeah. And I slowly got it involved in LinkedIn.
Had a little peek in there.
Everybody is on LinkedIn.
There's a lot of people there.
Yeah, and it was just so much fun too. I always like to be personal, not I mean, the people that
Not a
I
robot.
do, no,
Yeah.
the people that I do get a connection with, I like to learn more about them.
Yeah.
You know, even meet them for a coffee if I have the opportunity, if I'm traveling around Australia and I have
Yeah.
LinkedIn connections in Sydney, or, you know, like, hey, so to keep it more personal, but I love it, it's great. And, and it's very helpful too.
Yes.
I can, you know, ask for help and people instantly offer help, and the other way around as well. If people ask for help, it's great and you're able to offer the help.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it becomes a really small world.
Yes.
I had,
Certainly.
before COVID happened, I was just down on a flight to Newcastle, and on the way over there I was talking to the passenger next to me, and we just started talking about what he did, and it turns out we knew like 10 people, and it was all through LinkedIn.
Right.
Basically the same people, and it happened again on the way back to a whole different person. And that was actually because of that we had lived in China.
Yep.
This man had been involved in the mining industry, and I had a lot of friends from Australia that lived in China when we lived in China. And they used to be colleagues together, and I'm like, all of a sudden it just, this massive country just becomes such a small world. So
it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So all right, last question.
Yeah.
Do you believe we take the topic of safety serious in Australia? And if so, how?
Yes and no. I think there are people that are believing they are doing the right thing.
Yes.
But they are not. And that's simply because, yes, there's lots of rules and guidelines and regulations out there.
Yeah.
But it's hard to separate the tree from the forest, I suppose. You
Sure.
know, like, what do you really need to do? And there's just a lot of misconceptions, and that's not necessarily Australia, but I mean, you see it all the time. Import containers, export containers where cargo isn't properly secured, and people still have the idea, oh, but it's so heavy, it's not going to move. I recently was talking to a company, and they put 12, 13 ton pieces, like slab of concrete, not concrete, natural stoning containers, and they put one ratchet strap across the top that does 2.5 ton, not even, because the lashing points are less, but and they expect that's not going to move, A, because it's so heavy, and B, because it's been secured. I'm like, well, that's not doing anything, and that will for sure move. So it's the misconceptions, and then there is the wonderful CTU code that will help companies. Tells you exactly how to pack a container, but you tell people about the CTU code and they go like, what? What's the CTU code? So they're unaware of it still. And
so it's that education.
It is, yes. And that's what we always try to help with as well. And luckily, there has been a great initiative from the National Heavy Vehicle Regulator in Australia. It's a project that we've been involved with as well, and it will launch next month. Together with the ICHCA and with the CTAA and the FDA, and also Crawford Surveyors, surveying company, to create that awareness for container safety. And mainly for containers that are being transported on Australian roads. So whether it's coming inbound or going outbound, that's not going to matter, but it's going to tell people, it's like a training course, 6 subjects, and it's going to tell companies exactly what they need to do, what the rules and guidelines are, but then there's also going to be a really cool checklist that from the moment a container arrives into your yard,
follow this process
up until it leaves your yard, and then you will be compliant. And that's pretty cool, because it's not only in Australia first that this is going to be there, but it's actually going to be a global first as well.
Wow.
So, and the nice thing about is it's going to be offered for free to every company in Australia, including webinars that are free to follow as well for an X amount of months, and then it becomes just a paid course. It's going to, I think, global WISETech Global Academy. They have developed actually the training module, so that's really, really cool. So hopefully that will help with the safety. I mean, you know how dangerous it is if there's load shift in a container, truck rollovers, and they just still happen all the time. So and a lot of people think they're doing the right thing, but they just don't have the tools of education. Correct.
And I know here at SEQH we try and bring new people in so we can train them our way on how to do things. So something like this would be fantastic, and to go, here's some training modules on how to safely follow blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And just in some of the comments you've made, I'm just sort of reflecting on how we first engaged, which was we had a solar farm project. Containers came in off the wharf.
Yep.
When the container handler lifted the container off the truck, the container was like that.
I know.
Instead of being
yes.
level.
Yes.
And so what had happened was there was some stillages inside the container. They weren't restrained. One had feet on one end, the other had rollers. So what was happening was they were rolling in the containers.
Yes.
And so what we had to do was to find a cost-effective solution to restrain that cargo inside the container before we send it out to the project site.
Yeah.
Because unpack and loose deliver wasn't an option for a couple of reasons. So that's how we first got in contact.
Yeah.
And with appreciation, extremely fast response. Andre came out and spent several hours with our team over a couple of days to check in and make sure that they were comfortable with the product and how to use it safely.
Yeah.
And that was a very cost-effective and time-effective solution.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. If only all companies would take safety as highly as you guys do, and like we can't transport it on the road like this because it's going to create.
It's too scary.
It's too dangerous. It's too scary.
Yeah.
So hopefully with this container awareness program, safety awareness course or program, more companies will jump on the bandwagon and start treating it in the same way that you guys do.
And look, there are still a lot of companies that do the right thing. So
absolutely,
it's making sure that the majority continue forward.
Yes. And the people that don't know yet how to do it or are not securing their cargo yet,
they got the tools.
That they will have the tools to be able to start doing that as well. Because the COR, I mean, it's really serious these days. With personal liability now being a course as well.
Yeah.
It's no longer that if a container comes in inbound that you say, oh well, they didn't pack it in China, not my responsibility. No, it now is your responsibility, and you can even go to prison.
You play your part.
Yeah, you can even go to prison for it now if an accident happens, a truck rollover incident happens.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Yeah, so.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time today, Astrid.
Pleasure.
I've found it very interesting learning what you've said today, and hope everyone else has too. So any further questions for me, shoot it out. I'll tag Astrid in this one, so any further questions then just jump on her profile and contact from there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks
very
guys.
much. Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.